What can we learn from the prayer of Jabez? This is the question we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of 1 Chronicles on walking through the Bible.
His word, the glory of his cross.
Today we're going to be discussing 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verses 1 to 12. But before we do that, let's read the passage. If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 1. But if you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So 1 Chronicles chapter 4, beginning at verse 1. The sons of Judah were Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. And Reiah, the son of Shobal, begot Jahath, and Jahath begot Ahumai and Lahad. These were the families of the Zorathites. These were the sons of the father of Etam, Jezreel, Ishma, and Idbash. And the name of their sister was Hazaloponi. And Penuel was the father of Gedor, and Ezer was the father of Hushah. These were the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathah, the father of Bethlehem. And Asher, the father of Tekoa, had two wives, Helah and Naarah. Naarah bore him Ahuzam, Hepher, Temeni, and Haeshatari. These were the sons of Naarah. The sons of Helah were Zerath, Zohar, and Ethnan, and Koz, and begot Anub, Zobeba, and the families of Arahel, the son of Harum. Now Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. And his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bore him in pain. And Jabez called on God, the God of Israel, saying, Oh, that you would bless me indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. So God granted him what he requested. Chalub, the brother of Shuha, begot Mehir, who was the father of Eshton. And Eshton begat Bethrapha, Paseah, and Tahina, the father of Ir-Nahash. These were the men of Rechah. Well, hopefully we haven't lost many of our viewers by covering all these names in Chronicles, as we have tried to add little nuggets along the way to each lesson to help us understand the scriptures more clearly, help tie in what we've already learned, or help answer some of the questions of the skeptics who claim that the Bible is full of contradictions and therefore shouldn't be believed. We have learned from chapter 1, just as we did in Genesis, that the Israelites were not the only children of Abraham, that Ishmael was, as were the children of Keturah. We learned that the Israelites were not the only children of Isaac, as Esau was too, father of the Edomites. In chapters 2 and 3, we learned about the tribe of Judah leading us up to the house of David. These genealogies were consistent with what we read from Genesis all the way through the end of 2 Kings. Yes, some spellings of names might be different, but these are the same people, and the people of that day would have known who these people were because they also would have had access to genealogical tables apart from Scripture from which to consult. Why are these names needed? Because this book was written after the captivity in Babylon. Records were obviously saved from the destruction of Jerusalem before the captivity, but having inspired Scripture with many of the key names in one place would be most useful to those returning from this captivity. And that is the point that we must stress. These are key names. No, not every name is recorded here. In fact, only a small fraction of them are. But you did get the heads of the families or towns and cities. And along with other records, you could know which family you came from. And so would others who were not part of your family when these scriptures were read. In the first part of chapter 4, we get a further expansion of the genealogies of Judah before moving on to the tribe of Simeon. The chapter begins in a peculiar way by telling us that the sons of Judah were Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. The reason that this is peculiar is that Perez is only the literal son of Judah. Hezron was the son of Perez and thus grandson of Judah. Carmi is the descendant of Zerah, who was the brother of Perez. Hur is the son of Caleb, the son of Hezron by Ephrathah, and Shobal was the son of Hur. Why are they introduced this way? Again, it's because they formed the heads of the families in Israel. They were not the only heads of the families, obviously, but they were some of the notable ones. But what we're actually seeing, for the most part here, is what we said back in chapter 2, which is that many of the names become princes or leaders of cities and are thus said to be fathers of those cities or peoples. We see this with the families of the Zorathites, coming from Reiah, the son of Shobal, some of the families of Bethlehem coming from the sons of Hur, and the families of Tekoa coming from the descendants of Ashur. What perhaps is most interesting in this section is what is found in verses 9 and 10. Here we find a man named Jabez, from whom we don't know who he descended from, but who is said to be more honorable than his brothers, meaning becoming more prominent or obtaining a better reputation. There is a town named Jabez, mentioned in chapter 2, verse 55, which, if that town was named after this man, which based on what we read here seems to be a possibility, that makes him a descendant of Shobal, according to chapter 2. Regardless, the named Jabez means literally that he will cause pain, a name given to him by his mother because of the pain she caused in her childbirth. Jabez called on God, asking God to bless him and enlarge his territory, that God's hand would be with him and keep him from evil, that he may not cause pain. In other words, he was praying to God that his life become a contradiction to his name. And God granted him what he requested, which is why Jabez became more honorable than his brethren. This does teach us that God does hear our petitions and answers them. No, he is not a genie who grants all of our wishes, but he does hear our prayers and grants what he wills according to his will. Jabez asked for God to be with him and to be kept from evil. These were good things to ask for. And with those things came the enlargement of Jabez's territory, a physical blessing from God. We don't know what else happened to Jabez, but his actions in this regard are recorded here, and we can learn a little bit about prayer from his example. We'll continue on with chapter 4, the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of 1 Chronicles chapter 4, verses 13 to 23, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.